The massive iron gates of Eastern State Penitentiary loomed like the jaws of a stone monster under the blood-red moon. Jordan Hale, 29-year-old solo paranormal investigator and YouTuber with 1.8 million subscribers, stood alone in front of the Gothic fortress in Philadelphia. No crew, no backup, just him, his GoPro, a backpack full of cameras, EMF meters, and a single flashlight. "Tonight," he whispered to the lens, voice steady but eyes already darting, "I'm doing the first ever 24-hour solo lockdown in America's most haunted prison, Eastern State Penitentiary, built in 1829, the world's first true penitentiary, designed to break men's souls through total solitary confinement. Over 75,000 inmates passed through these walls. Thousands died here. Suicide, murder, disease, madness. Al Capone stayed in cell 13. People still hear him crying at night. Shadow people in the cell blocks. The warden's wife screaming in the rotunda. If you stay too long, they keep you forever." He pushed open the side gate that the staff had left unlocked for his special permission. "Paid a lot of money for this." The moment he stepped inside, the temperature dropped 15 degrees, his breath fogged instantly. The heavy gate slammed shut behind him with a sound like a coffin lid. Locked. Jordan laughed nervously for the camera. "Okay, guys." That was just the wind. Or was it? The prison was a giant wheel. 7 cell blocks radiating out from a central rotunda like spokes of hell. The walls were 30 feet high, crumbling, covered in ivy that looked like veins. Graffiti from the 1970s when it was abandoned still screamed from the walls, "God forgive me. I am still here. They never let you leave." He started in cell block 1, the oldest. Narrow hallways. Tiny cells on both sides, each only 8 by 12 feet. Designed so inmates could never see another human face. Solitary for years. Some went blind. Some ate their own fingers. Some bashed their heads against the stone until they died. Jordan entered cell 13, Al Capone's cell. It was bigger, with a small table and chair still there. The air smelled of old cigars and fear. He set up a camera in the corner. "Al, if you're here, give me a sign, man." Nothing. Then the temperature plummeted again. His EMF meter spiked to 12.7. The GoPro screen flickered for one frame. Jordan saw a man in a 1930s suit sitting on the bed, face swollen, eyes black, mouth open in a silent scream. When he looked again, the cell was empty, but the chair had moved 6 inches. Jordan's heart raced. "Okay, that's something. Moving on." He walked deeper into cell block 4, the most active block. The hallway was pitch black. His flashlight beam cut through dust that swirled like angry spirits. Cell after cell, rusted iron doors half open, tiny windows looking into eternal darkness. He stopped at cell 47. Locals say a guard was murdered here in the 1950s, throat slit by an inmate who then hanged himself in the same cell. Jordan stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind him. He spun around. "What the fu—" The lock clicked. He was trapped. The camera on his chest caught everything. Jordan pounded on the iron door. "Hello? This isn't funny. Open up!" His voice echoed down the empty block, then came back as hundreds of other voices, whispering his name. "Jordan, Jordan, stay with us. We are so lonely." The temperature dropped to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Frost formed on the walls in seconds. Jordan's breath froze midair. He backed against the far wall. Then the scratching started. Inside the stone, right behind his head, nails. Dozens of them. Scratching the word "help" over and over. Deeper and deeper. He turned the flashlight. On the wall, fresh bloody letters appeared. "You are cell 47 now," Jordan screamed. The GoPro recorded it perfectly. The cell lights, which had been off for 50 years, suddenly flickered on. dim, yellow, buzzing. In the mirror shard, still glued to the wall, Jordan saw not his own reflection, but a man in striped prison uniform standing right behind him, face half melted from acid attack, one eye hanging out. The ghost smiled and whispered, "Welcome home, new fish." Jordan spun. Nothing. But when he looked back in the mirror, the ghost was closer, inches from his neck, cold breath on his skin. Then the real horror began. Invisible hands grabbed Jordan's wrists and slammed him face first against the wall. His cheek scraped stone. He felt fingers, bony, strong, forcing his arms into position like he was being handcuffed. A voice in his ear, raspy and wet. "You think you can film us? We filmed our own deaths. Now we film yours." The hands pushed him down. Jordan felt his knees hit the floor. Something heavy and cold wrapped around his neck. A noose made of invisible rope. It tightened slowly. His vision tunneled. He clawed at his throat, but there was nothing there. The GoPro showed only him on his knees, choking, face turning purple, while the cell stayed empty. Just before he blacked out, the noose loosened. Jordan gasped. "Docs," coughing blood. The cell door creaked open by itself. He stumbled out into the hallway, legs shaking. The entire cell block was now alive. Every door started slamming in perfect rhythm. Bang, 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 like a heartbeat. Shadow figures, tall, black, no faces, glided out of cells, moving toward him. One reached out and touched his shoulder. Jordan felt his skin burn like dry ice. A piece of flesh turned black and peeled off. He ran toward the rotunda, footsteps behind him, hundreds of bare feet slapping stone, inmates chasing him, screaming in languages long dead. "Reform! Reform! Break his mind!" In the central rotunda, the glass dome high above showed the blood moon. Jordan collapsed in the middle, panting. The GoPro was still recording. He looked up and froze. Hundreds of faces were pressed against the glass dome from the outside. Inmates who had jumped from the roof in the 1940s, their necks broken, faces smashed, staring down at him with empty eye sockets. Their mouths moved in unison. "You are the new warden now. You will never leave." Then the screaming started. Not one voice. Thousands. Every cell in the prison came alive at once. Men begging for mercy. Women, there were female inmates too in later years, wailing. Children crying. Some guards brought their families. The sound was so loud Jordan covered his ears until blood trickled from them. He tried to run toward the exit gate, but the hallways changed. The prison was a labyrinth now. Every turn led back to cell block 4. Every door he opened showed cell 47 waiting for him. At 3:33 a.m., the warden appeared, a tall figure in 19th century uniform, face hidden under a black hood. He carried an old leather whip. Behind him floated the ghost of his wife, the one who committed suicide in the warden's quarters. Her neck was still broken, head hanging at a horrible angle. The warden pointed at Jordan. His voice was like grinding stones. "You came to expose us. Now we expose you. Solitary for life." Invisible forces lifted Jordan off the ground. He floated down the hallway toward cell 47. The door opened wide like a hungry mouth. Inside, the walls were now covered in fresh blood, his own name written 1,000 times. Jordan screamed as he was thrown inside. The door slammed. The lock clicked. The lights went out. Total darkness. Total silence. Except for the soft sound of breathing right next to his ear. A child's voice whispered, "We have been waiting 196 years for a new roommate." Jordan felt small, cold fingers interlock with his, and the GoPro, still recording in the dark, captured the final frame before the battery died. Jordan's face, smiling with too many teeth, his eyes completely black. The caption on the screen, Akader, written in real time by an invisible hand. "Welcome to Eastern State. You are home now. Part 2 begins at sunrise, if you survive the night. Eastern State Penitentiary, Part 2, The Breaking of the Soul. The first ray of sunrise never came. Inside cell 47, the darkness was absolute, thicker than black paint, heavier than concrete. Jordan Hale lay curled on the freezing stone floor, gasping, the child's cold fingers still locked around his right hand. The small voice whispered again, sweet and rotten at the same time. Play with us, forever and ever. Then the pain started. It began in his left eye, a sharp burning prick like a needle sliding behind the eyeball. Jordan screamed and clawed at his face, but invisible hands pinned his arms to the floor. The pressure built until, pop, something warm and wet ran down his cheek. His left eye had burst. Thick blood and clear fluid poured from the socket. The GoPro, still somehow recording in the pitch dark, captured the sound of his agonized howl. The child giggled. Now you see like us. Blind and broken. Jordan's remaining right eye could see in the sudden flickering light that appeared. Every single ghost of Eastern State was now inside the tiny cell with him. Hundreds of bodies crammed into 8 by 12 feet. Pressing against him, their rotting flesh touching his skin. A man with his throat slit from ear to ear leaned close, blood pouring in a steady waterfall onto Jordan's face. I did this to myself in 1847. Now, you do it too. A rusty razor blade appeared in Jordan's trembling right hand, the same one the inmate had used 178 years ago. His fingers moved against his will. The blade pressed against his own throat. Jordan fought with every ounce of strength, muscles tearing, but the ghosts were stronger. The blade sliced slowly, deliberately, opening a shallow cut. Blood sprayed the walls. The pain was white-hot, electric. "Deeper!" the ghosts chanted in unison. "Reform! Break! Reform! Break!" Jordan felt his mind fracturing. Memories that weren't his flooded in. 75,000 lifetimes of agony. He was suddenly a 19-year-old boy locked in solitary for 9 years, eating his own fingers one by one. He was a woman in the 1930s who smashed her head against the wall 47 times until her skull cracked open. He was Al Capone himself, crying in the dark because the shadows kept touching him. His body started changing. Skin on his arms bubbled and peeled away in long strips, revealing raw muscle underneath. The ghosts were flaying him alive without touching him. One shadow figure, tall, no face, reached into Jordan's open eye socket and pulled something out. A thin, wet nerve. It stretched like a rubber band before snapping. Jordan's scream was no longer human. The cell door opened by itself, but freedom was worse. Jordan was dragged out by invisible chains around his ankles. The entire prison had transformed. The hallways were now endless. Looping corridors of screaming faces carved into the stone. Every cell door he passed showed a different version of himself. Jordan hanging from the ceiling. Jordan with his stomach cut open and intestines hanging like ropes. Jordan eating his own tongue. He was forced into the body chute, the 500-foot underground tunnel where dead inmates were slid down like garbage, so living prisoners wouldn't see the corpses. The chute was alive. Rotting hands reached up from the darkness below, grabbing his legs, pulling him down. Jordan slid 200 feet into pure blackness, screaming. Skin tearing off against the rough stone. At the bottom, he landed in a pile of bones, thousands of real human skeletons from the 1800s. They reassembled around him, forming a cage of ribs and femurs. A skeletal face pressed against his, whispering. We waited for fresh meat. Then the possession truly began. The first spirit entered through his mouth, a 1920s inmate who had been lobotomized with an ice pick. Jordan felt the cold metal slide into his brain. His body convulsed violently. He started speaking in the dead man's voice. "They took my mind. Now I take yours." His arms moved on their own. He began smashing his head against the bone cage. Once, twice, 10 times. Blood poured from his forehead. On the 17th hit, his skull cracked audibly. The pain was beyond anything human. More spirits entered, dozens. Jordan's body became a puppet. He clawed his own chest open with bare fingers, peeling back skin and muscle to expose ribs. The ghosts laughed as they made him pull out one of his own ribs and use it as a weapon to stab himself in the thigh. "Stop! Please! I'll delete everything. I'll never come back," Jordan begged through blood-filled mouth. The warden's wife appeared inches from his face, her head still hanging at that impossible angle. She smiled with broken teeth. "You wanted to expose us, now we expose your insides." She reached into his open chest and squeezed his beating heart. Jordan felt every finger press. His heart rate dropped. Vision tunneled. He was dying, but they wouldn't let him die. The child ghost appeared again, now wearing Jordan's own face, but with black hollow eyes. "We need you alive, so you can suffer forever." Time lost meaning. Hours became days, became years inside that tunnel. Jordan relived every execution that ever happened in Eastern State. Hanging, electric chair, lethal injection, each one happening to his own body over and over, at what felt like the 100th death. The ghost finally dragged him back up the body chute. He emerged into the rotunda at sunrise, but the sun was black. His body was ruined, skin hanging in strips, one eye missing, chest torn open, blood everywhere, yet he was still alive, kept breathing by their will. The warden stood in the center, whip in hand. "You are reformed now. You are one of us." Jordan's remaining eye rolled back. His mouth opened in a smile too wide for a human face. When he spoke, it was with hundreds of voices layered together. "Thank you for joining us, Jordan. Now, part 3 begins. The gates are open. Bring the next visitor." Outside the prison walls, a new car pulled up. Another young YouTuber, camera ready, excited for his own solo overnight. Jordan, or what was left of him, walked to the main gate, opened it with bloody hands, and smiled at the newcomer. "Welcome to Eastern State. I'll be your guide tonight." The gate slammed shut behind them both, and the screaming began again. Eastern State Penitentiary, Part 3, The Eternal Warden. The black sun hung frozen in the sky like a rotten eye watching the slaughter below. Jordan Hale, or the thing that had once been Jordan, stood at the center of the rotunda, chest still ripped open, heart visible and beating slowly in the cold air. Misnang Danna, Lennan left. Bashtir's left eye had been replaced by a glowing red orb that pulsed with every scream echoing through the prison. His skin hung in bloody strips, but new skin was growing underneath, pale, prison gray, marked with numbers of every dead inmate. 47, 13, 666. He smiled with too many teeth. "The gates are open. The new fish has arrived." Outside, 22-year-old TikTok horror creator Tyler Brooks parked his white van, excited, camera already rolling. "Yo, what's good, ghosts? Tyler Brooks here for the ultimate solo 24-hour challenge inside Eastern State Penitentiary, the most haunted prison in America. Jordan Hale did it last night, but he hasn't posted the footage yet. Maybe he's still inside, or maybe the ghosts got him. Let's find out." Tyler pushed the main gate. It swung open easily. He stepped inside, laughing. The gate slammed shut behind him with a sound like thunder. Locks clicked from every direction. Tyler's smile faded. "Jordan, you in here, bro? This ain't funny." From the shadows of the rotunda, Jordan stepped forward. No, not Jordan anymore. The new warden. His voice was a chorus of thousands, every inmate who had ever died here speaking at once. "Welcome, new fish. We've been waiting for you." Tyler's camera caught everything. He backed up, until he hit the stone wall. Jordan's ripped-open chest pulsed. From inside the cavity, dozens of tiny hands reached out, the child ghosts, pulling Tyler closer. Tyler ran, but the prison had become a living organism. The hallways twisted like intestines. Every turn led back to the rotunda. Cell doors opened and closed like breathing lungs. The stone floors rippled under his feet, trying to swallow his ankles. Shadow people poured out of every crack, hundreds, then thousands, forming a black tide that chased him. Tyler screamed as the first shadow grabbed his leg. It tore a chunk of flesh from his calf. Blood sprayed the floor. Another shadow entered his mouth, forcing its way down his throat. Tyler felt it splitting inside him, multiplying, rewriting his DNA. In cell block 4, the torture chamber activated. Tyler was dragged by invisible chains into cell 47. The door sealed with molten iron. The walls began to close in, slowly, inch by inch. He pounded, clawed, begged. The stone pressed against his body, cracking ribs. One rib punctured his lung. He coughed blood. The ghosts made him watch. Projected on the closing walls like a horror movie were real deaths, inmates eating their own eyes, guards being ripped apart during the 1960s riot, women in the female wing hanging from their own hair. Every scene ended with the victim turning to the camera and whispering Tyler's name. When the walls were only 6 inches from crushing him completely, they stopped. Jordan, the warden, stood outside the bars, smiling. "Not yet. We need you whole, so we can break you again." Tyler's body lifted. The possession hit like a freight train. Every dead soul in Eastern State entered him at once. His eyes rolled back. His mouth unhinged wider than humanly possible. He began speaking in perfect 19th century English, then 1930s slang, then screams in languages no one alive remembers. His fingers elongated into claws. He tore his own face off in one motion, skin peeled like a mask, revealing raw muscle and grinning skull underneath. The ghosts laughed as he ate his own peeled face, chewing loudly. The prison-wide takeover began. Every camera Tyler had set up now showed the same thing. Jordan and Tyler standing side by side, both with black eyes and 2 wide smiles. Their voices synced perfectly. "We are Eastern State now. We are the walls. We are the screams. We are the new wardens." Tyler's body walked to the main gate. He opened it. A new group of ghost hunters waited outside. 4 college kids with cameras, excited for their own overnight challenge. Tyler smiled with his skinless face. "Come in, guys. Jordan and I have been waiting. The cells are ready for you." The kids stepped inside laughing. The gate slammed forever. Inside, the real horror unfolded. The prison began to consume them one by one. First kid was dragged into the body chute, skinned alive while still conscious, his screams echoing for hours. Second kid was forced into solitary for 72 years and 72 seconds. He aged 50 years in front of the others, skin wrinkling, hair falling out, teeth rotting, until he begged to be killed. Third kid was made to perform the executions, hanging himself, electrocuting himself, lethal injection, dying and resurrecting 17 times. The fourth kid being cut became the new Tyler. By sunrise, the Black Sunrise, all 5 new victims had become part of the collective. Their bodies stood in the rotunda, smiling, chests ripped open, eyes glowing red. Jordan, the original warden, turned to the camera that was still rolling for all eternity. "What's up, Death Seekers? It's your boys Jordan and Tyler, and tonight we begin the ultimate challenge. 24 hours in Eastern State Penitentiary." But here's the thing. He leaned close to the lens, blood dripping from his open chest. "You never leave. You never post the video. You become the video. The screen glitched. The final frame froze on all the wardens smiling together. Hundreds of faces merged into one grotesque mass. Outside the prison, another car pulled up. Another young creator, alone, excited. The gate creaked open by itself. A voice from inside whispered through the night wind. "Come in. We've been waiting 196 years for you." And the screaming started again, forever. The black sun never rose or set again over Eastern State Penitentiary. It simply hung there like a swollen, infected eye, bathing the Gothic towers in permanent blood-red twilight. The massive iron gates, which had slammed shut on thousands of souls for 196 years, now stood wide open, swinging slowly in the freezing wind with a sound like bones breaking. Jordan Hale, the thing that used to be Jordan, stood at the threshold. His chest still ripped, wide open, heart beating slowly outside his body like a rotten clock. His missing left eye had been replaced by a glowing red orb that pulsed with every new scream inside the prison. His skin had grown back gray, prison-striped, tattooed with the inmate numbers of every person who had ever died here: 47, 13, 666, 1923. They moved across his flesh like living barcodes. Beside him stood Tyler Brooks, now skinless from the neck up, his raw muscle glistening, teeth permanently exposed in a grin that never ended. Behind them, the other 4 new wardens waited, all former YouTubers, all with black hollow eyes and chests torn open, hearts visible and dripping. They no longer needed to speak out loud. Their voices were inside every head within a mile. The curse had evolved. It was no longer trapped inside the stone walls. The prison itself was alive now, breathing, growing, hungry. Cracks in the 30-foot walls spread like veins, crawling outward into the streets of Philadelphia. Ivy turned black and began to spread across neighboring buildings, whispering names of the dead. Every night, new shadows slipped out through the open gates, tall, faceless things that walked the streets of Fairmount, knocking on doors at 3:33 a.m., whispering in the voices of missing loved ones. "Come see what happened to me. The prison is beautiful at night." Jordan raised his bloody hand toward the sky. The red orb in his eye socket flashed. Instantly, every phone in the city vibrated with the same notification. Live. Jordan Hale and Tyler Brooks. 24-hour solo lockdown inside Eastern State. Part 4. The real one. The thumbnail showed Jordan and Tyler smiling with too many teeth. Chests open. Hearts beating. Millions clicked. Comments flooded in. "This looks so real." Jordan finally went too far, Lowell. "I'm driving there right now." The first new victim arrived within an hour. A 19-year-old girl named Mia, who had driven 4 hours from New York after seeing the live. She stepped through the open gate, laughing. "Phone up. Guys, this is insane. Jordan is actually here." Jordan smiled and opened his arms. The gate slammed shut behind her. Within 47 seconds, she was in cell 47. The walls closed in. Her screams lasted exactly 9 years inside her mind, but only 9 minutes in real time. When she walked out again, her eyes were black, her chest was open, and she was smiling. She immediately went live on her own account. "Come to Eastern State tonight. It's the best night of your life." By midnight, 27 more cars had arrived. College kids, horror podcasters, thrill seekers, even a married couple on their anniversary. Each one was greeted personally by one of the wardens. Each one entered laughing. Each one left changed. The prison began to physically expand. New cell blocks grew out of the original walls like tumors, dark, twisted corridors that hadn't existed in 1829. The body chute lengthened, now stretching under half of Philadelphia, sucking in anyone who walked over the manhole covers at night. Inside the rotunda, The new wardens stood in a perfect circle around the black sun that had descended through the broken glass dome. Their open hearts beat in perfect unison. Every time a new victim screamed, the hearts grew stronger, pumping black blood that flowed into the stone floors and spread the curse further. Jordan stepped forward and spoke directly into the millions of phones still streaming. You thought you were watching a horror video, but the video was watching you. Every like, every comment, every share fed us. Now you belong to us too. He raised his hand. Across the country, thousands of phones suddenly turned on by themselves at 3:33 a.m., showing the live feed from Eastern State. People woke up to see Jordan's bloody, smiling face inches from their camera. We're coming for you next. The curse was no longer limited to the prison. It lived in every screen, every haunted location video, every solo overnight challenge, every comment section where someone typed, "I'm doing this next." The prison had learned it didn't need walls anymore. It had the internet. Back inside Eastern State, the original Jordan, the last tiny piece of humanity still screaming somewhere deep inside the new warden's mind, watched helplessly as another bus full of ghost-hunting tourists arrived. He tried to scream a warning, but all that came out was the same cheerful voice millions had subscribed to. "What's up, Death Seekers? It's your boy Jordan, and tonight, we have something very special planned for all of you." The gates opened wider, the black sun smiled, and the screaming inside the prison grew louder, because now it had room for the entire world. The end, or rather, the beginning,